Did it start? Why does it still say waiting? Hello? Anybody in here? Can y'all hear me? Am I talking to myself again? All right, we live. So this is what we're looking at today. We're gonna start off listening to what is this? Bayou Wild. What's happening? Where's the audio?
Expect your system for a skinny catfish.
Oh, what up?
Because they eat everything. So even
Wait.
our smallest ones have big bellies on.
What up, man?
Clearly don't go
You been
I don't think
to catch those strappers yet?
based on what we fed them, and I'm kind of curious what's in their stomachs also and what they're eating around here. But our smallest one might be 5 pounds, and our biggest maybe 35.
Check this out. These guys went out catfishing in the river on the kayaks.
Oh, it's the big one!
That's a flathead.
That's a kuya.
Right off the levee. You can see the levee in the background right there. They you drag your kayak over the levee and you set some bank lines, and they catch tons of catfish this time of year when the river's high. Oh, you've been striper fishing twice? Yeah, this is pretty cool. I've been wanting to try this. I might go try this one afternoon. What up, Deputy? What up, Nate? Man, that's a load of catfish right there. Right off the side of the thing, he's sinking his kayak. Y'all check that out. Let's see, I'll make it full screen. If it goes. He's sinking the back of the Outback down right off the side of the bank. This is a great time to go catfishing right now in the Mississippi River. When it's high, you fish right off the top of the levee, cast down. You don't have to worry about getting snagged too much. You don't have to worry about the current of the river too much. Let's see what Eric's talking about.
This is what, a 350-pound cord, the cord like they use on trawl nets to weave trawl nets with, and we've had these broken. So who knows how big they are.
Man, look at that load of catfish. Anybody like catfishing? Anybody been catfishing recently? Rick, you went to Delacroix, hit the Reds? Yeah, I heard it was on fire. My buddy Cody went to Delacroix Friday morning. He said he caught 12 reds, but like he called me at like 8 o'clock and he said he had caught 12 already. And he was just seeing backs and tails and just action all over. He was catching them like every cast pretty much. What river is that? That's the Mississippi River, Deputy. I think these guys they launch right off the levee. There's a what am I doing? There's a bunch of ponds that are right off the river. If you look, you get a good picture. Like especially up here, like near the Huey P. Long, you can drag over the levee right now, and the river is high, so all this stuff, all these trees right here are flooded. You can drag your kayak in and fish these areas that are flooded, and the catfish will get all up on the bank right there, and you can kill them. You can kill the catfish out there right now. But I guess today I plan on talking about a little bit about sight fishing redfish. I think I told y'all a couple weeks ago about how I did horrible in that tournament. I needed to catch a redfish. I could not catch a redfish. So last Thursday, I think the day after we did the live stream, I went out with my buddy Cody on his boat, and we went and did a little sight fishing down towards Delacroix way. And we had a pretty good day. It was windy. It was super windy, probably like 18 miles an hour winds, and we struggled to find clean water. But once we found clean water, we saw a bunch of reds, and we caught a decent amount of fish, enough to make it a good morning run. What up, Blackfish? What up? Who else is in here? Who else is in here? Rick? Yeah, I've been hearing lots of good reports from Delacroix. Like every time I look, somebody talking about they catching either trout or reds in Delacroix. Less than 30 minutes, you cut your limit. That's awesome, Wash. So yeah, what we gonna talk about? Sight fishing redfish. That's my favorite way to catch reds. What's your favorite way to catch reds? Redfish are easy to catch. They don't mind. Oh, I just realized I got all my shit on. They don't mind at all. They'll hit anything. They'll hit bait, they'll hit pretty much any lure you throw at them, they'll hit. I just showed y'all a sneak peek of all my fishing spots. So if you rewind this video, you got a lot of pins on there that I don't normally show. But Matt's got a sight fishing video on his page. My sight fishing video is coming soon. I've been kind of slacking on the editing, but we're gonna get that out soon. I just started editing it this afternoon. Second place, man. Yep, we held down the second place finish, and maybe next year we'll be able to break through and get in the first place. Anybody went fishing this week so far? I haven't been fishing at all. I've been slacking. I've been slacking. Just gotta find that clean water and that grass in Delacroix. You'll find some fish. Don't rewind. Don't rewind. I got some pins on there that are top secret. I'm gonna have to go back and edit out like the first 2 minutes of the map feature. Everybody's gonna be in my areas. But let's talk about sight fishing. I'm not the greatest sight fisherman, but I am okay at it sometimes if I actually put the time in and force myself to do it. Most of the times when I go sight fishing, I end up like sight fishing for like an hour, and then I'm like, screw this, and I go back and go try to catch some trout. But sight fishing is fun, it's cool, and right now is a good time to go if you can dodge the wind. If you can get a day that's not super windy, you get a nice calm sunny day. The grass is not too high in the marsh yet, so you can really get in a lot of areas and cover a lot of ground and see a lot of fish. Matt is a pretty good sight fisherman, real fisherman. Hopefully he'll chime in with some tips and comments tonight. And what up, Danny? Man, Salter went to Lake Pontchartrain and caught some trout. I still haven't been out in the lake yet. I was hearing some good reports out of the lake. A lot of people fishing like the bridges and fishing clean pockets, like Salter said. And I also heard some people catching fish on the South Shore, which was promising until that west wind came through like a couple of days ago and muddied everything like horrible, something horrible. But I think it's bouncing back now. It's starting to clean back up. But yeah, I like sight fishing. I'm kind of on a sight fishing kick now since we went on that trip Wednesday. I'm on a sight fishing kick. I want to go out and do it again if I get some time later this week. But I guess today I'm gonna just talk about a little bit about the basics of sight fishing. That's all I can get into. Hopefully Matt will chime in with some details and some of my other guys that like to fish for redfish. But it's sight fishing time. The grass, like I said, the grass is not too high yet. Like you can see in this picture right here, you can see the dark areas. That's where the grass is, and it's pretty well grown up. Let's see if we can find a picture where it's not so grown. Oh, that's really grown right there. Like right here, it's a little more naked, and then when you come back, this is a picture from January. Right here, this is a picture from April. You can see how open it is and how the grass isn't really spread out. You never tried sight fishing yet, Nate? You got to try it, man. You got to just find your shoreline and drift that shoreline, and you'll see the reds down there. What up, Blues guy? So yeah, so we're gonna just talk. We're gonna do a little overview right now. We're gonna just talk about some of the lures I like to use for sight fishing. No, I don't do charters. I can recommend you to a charter. I actually I just kind of gave up on that. I got me a job. I just started this past Monday. So yeah, charter. I'm not gonna have no time to be going fishing too much, but I'm gonna make it happen. We're gonna get it in on my off time. But yeah, some lures I like to use. I like to use a lot of man, I should have pulled some stuff out the tackle box, but we'll just talk about it. Uh, First and foremost, I like to use just little small plastics, light jig heads. You don't really need too much weight, especially if the wind is low. Um, so like a 1/4 ounce jig head, maybe even lighter than that, you can get away with sometimes. You just needed something that you can get an accurate cast, yeah, and get it in front of the fish like you need to get it. So sight fishing, sight fishing, you want to find like the cleanest water possible that you can find. So certain areas in the marsh, I don't know if you guys have experienced this, but certain if you get deep enough in the marsh, like you can see in this picture right here how dark this water is. This water in this little area is probably super clean and probably pretty shallow, probably less than a foot, maybe. I don't know. I haven't been to this spot. I'm just picking a random spot that looks good on a map. But if you go in this spot, it's super clean. So if you get up high, get you a nice vantage angle, you have a nice sunny day. You're gonna want to wear polarized glasses. You're gonna have a day where it's not cloudy at all. You want to just have a bright sky and bright bluebird sky. That's gonna be the best conditions for sight fishing. You wanna find something that has maybe a foot to, or let's say the maximum depth you want to be in is maybe 3 feet at the most. Anything deeper than that is going to get kind of hard to see them unless the water is ultra clean. But about 3 feet you can see pretty clearly if you get some decent clarity water. And probably the best depth is probably in the 1.5 to 2 foot range where you can drift a boat or your kayak is going to drift really easily, but it's not so deep that you can't see the bottom, and it's going to be easy to see the bottom. So that's what you're going to look for. You want to have light winds, so you don't have too much of a ripple on the water. That's going to obscure your vision. So if you find a day where you have light winds, when the gnats are biting, those type of days, when it's sunny, those are great days to go sight fishing. Um, if it is a windy day, you want to try to find an area that's protected. You want to try to find an area that's protected. That's going to break the wind for you. So if the wind is blowing from the north in this picture, this shoreline right here, this grassy shoreline is going to be good to fish. It's going to be, it's going to be calmer than fishing the windward shoreline. It's going to be easier to see the fish if you don't have as much of a ripple on the water, right? Pretty obvious, pretty simple. Another trick I like to use is if the wind is blowing from the north, I like to try to get my back to the wind as much as possible, as often as possible. That way, like Blues Guy says, you don't have to run your trawler motor too hard. Or if you're in a kayak, you don't have to paddle too much. That's a sure way to get the reds on edge and spook them. The quieter you are, the easier it is to get the lure in front of their face. And if you get it in front of their face, it's pretty much a guaranteed hookup. But lures, I think I started talking about lures and I got distracted and started talking about good days to fish. But lures, yeah, the lighter the lure, the better. So the less wind, the lighter the lure you're going to be able to use, and you're going to be able to cast accurately. Um, I like to use a bait casting rod. I feel like it's accurate where you can thumb the spool and get a real accurate cast on the fish. And you can throw underhand, a sidearm, whatever you need to do to get in front of the fish. But sometimes when I'm using a really lightweight, I'll switch over to a spinning rod because spinning rods um, are perfect for casting light action lures. So it just depends on what lure you're throwing, what type of rod, and what type of action you want to throw. But I like a medium heavy, a stouter rod, especially when I'm fishing around grass. And I'll use probably 30 to 50 pound braid. A lot of times I don't run a leader. When I'm sight fishing, I just use tie straight to the braid. And so I'll tie my little weightless or like 1/8 ounce, 1/4 ounce jig head or a 1/4 ounce swim bait hook that's weedless with a soft plastic, a paddle tail, or a crawfish style, or any kind of creature style bait. Any bait made for bass will probably catch a red. But I'm partial to, I like a small paddle tail, a 4-inch paddle tail. That works really well. Yeah, check out Matt's video. He has a lot of nice sight casting stuff. But yeah, the small paddle tails. I also like to cast the gold spoon as a sight casting bait. It's one of my favorite baits to sight cast with. I like the smaller gold spoon that they sell. What is that? A 1/4 ounce or 3/8 ounce? Oh man, why didn't I? Yeah, it's like a quarter. The smaller gold spoon. So they sell two sizes. One's a 1/2 ounce, and I think one's a 3/8 or a 1/4 ounce. 3/8 ounce, I believe. The 3/8 ounce, the smaller one is really good for sight casting with. I find that the big one is just hits the water too hard and it spooks them a lot of time. Now, if you blind casting that big spoon, that 1/2 ounce spoon, blind cast it down the bank and just bring it back on a nice steady retrieve, that works really well, and you catch some nicer reds. But the small spoon is great for sight casting with. All right, what other lures do I use for sight casting? I just wanted to talk about there's these lures called bugs fishing lures. They're they're like specifically made for sight casting. They're a lead head with a weedless hook, and then they're tied with feathers and fly tying materials. So when they hit the water, they're very light entry when they hit the water. So you rarely spook a fish on the initial cast with the bugs fishing lures. Let's see if I can find a picture of that. Show you guys that. It's a really cool product. Guy out of Texas makes them. It's a smaller company, so you're gonna let's see. It's a smaller company, but they make great baits. Let's see. Here we go. Bugs. So this is a good picture of one. I think this is called like the flats bug. But they got a few different styles. This one is the curl-tail redfish bug. They got a few different styles, and they're all really good redfish and sight fishing baits. I haven't found a preference of color. I like the more natural looking colors, but just base your color selection off of your water clarity, and that's with every lure. Based off your water clarity, you're gonna choose your lure. I've also had good success casting. I've also had good success casting bass jigs, like the traditional flipping jigs for bass. Yeah, Lone Star, you know all about that. You Texas, that's that Texas secret out there, the bugs fishing lure. But they didn't got really popular in the kayak community, especially out here in Louisiana. All right, so what else are we going to talk about? So now that we done talked about what to use and where to go, now we'll talk about I guess we'll just talk about how I set up. So if you find a good area on the map, you look on Google Earth and you pick out an area that looks pretty promising, that has a lot of grass. So like this area, I guess, you're gonna see what the scenario is for the day. When you go out any given day, why is it not changing? Hold up, come on. There you go. If you go out on any given day, you're gonna have different conditions. You're gonna have wind direction coming from all different angles, and the sun is going to change in the sky as the day progresses. So in the morning, the sun rises in the east and sets in the west, right? So in the morning, the angle of the sun, you want to have the sun at your back. So in the morning, you're going to be wanting to be going, all right, so that's the east side right here, right? So if we're on this shoreline early in the morning when the sun is rising, we want to be fishing it come in this direction. That's going to give you the best chance to see. That's going to give you the best chance to see the fish when the sun is in your back, when you got your glasses on. But as the day progresses, the sun's going to get higher in the sky. So when the sun is overhead, it really doesn't matter. When it's like 12 o'clock midday, the sun's over top, it really doesn't matter which direction you're going because the sun is, shining straight down. So at that point, you want to kind of try to follow the wind and be as quiet as possible. So if the wind is blowing from the west, then you want to midday, you want to start riding this direction on the shoreline, and that's going to help you see the most amount of fish as you're drifting down the bank. And so then same way in the afternoon when the sun is setting, you want to keep your back. So basically all I'm saying is you want to keep your back to the sun at all times as best you can. Sometimes that's not going to be feasible because the wind and the sun are going to be fighting each other. So you're going to have to pick whether you want the sun at your back or you want to drift with the wind. But that's why it's best to sight fish in the middle of the day. So go trout fishing early if you have the opportunity or the chance. Go trout fishing till about 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. Then go do your sight fishing while the sun is up high. So then you can have the best chance at riding with the wind. Yeah, if you try to go into the sun, the glare is going to be on you. It's going to make it so hard to see. But some days the wind is so strong, you got to go into the sun that it just doesn't work, especially in the kayak. But what else we want to talk about? Light conditions. You want to pick a day where the sun is high, where you don't have fog or too much cloud cover or too many clouds that are coming blocking the sun. It's going to get frustrating. But that's pretty obvious, right? What up, Aaron? Let's see. What else we want to talk about? What else we talking about? So, what else we want to talk about? Matt, you got any input on this? Lone Star, you seem like you're pretty knowledgeable on this. You got any input? Anything I'm missing here? I guess we'll talk about what to look for, right? I wish I had some footage of this. Go check out Matt's channel. Go check out his video. Let's see. Let's see if we can go to Matt's channel and find his video with him sight fishing. Oh, what's going on here? Let's see. Videos. Let's see. Where's he sight fishing at? Right here. Is this sight fishing, Matt? No, I don't think this is it. Yeah, I've used top water. I've sight fished top water, redfish. I also sight fished the shark last year down in Golden Meadow. I was red fishing and I saw this big white thing coming across the flat. And at first I thought it was a black drum. So I pitched my jig at it, chasing tails. That's it. All right, let's see. Let's find it. There it is. Sight fishing Matt right here. Go check out Matt's channel. We're gonna look at some of his sight fishing content. Oh yeah, this is just what I wanted to see too. I was gonna talk about looking for tails and looking for wakes and how to tell what's a redfish wake versus a mullet or a gar. It's a big difference when you and once you realize what it is, you'll be able to pick them out pretty easily. But so yeah, here you can kind of see in this video, Matt here. You see the size of that wake. So when you're in the marsh, you're gonna see a lot of fish swimming around, especially if you're in a good area. You're gonna see a lot of fish swimming around, a lot of mullets, and in the fresher areas, you're gonna see a lot of gar. You're gonna see a lot of gar swimming around, and that's gonna, when you first start sight fishing, that's gonna catch your eye a lot. You're gonna see a lot of gar. You're gonna see a lot of mullets, and that's gonna be what you're gonna be looking for. But if you see right here, you see the size of the wake that this redfish is putting off when Matt hooked up with it. no mullet, no gar is ever gonna. Well, maybe a really big gar, but no mullet is ever going to put off that much of a push. So if you see those little small pushes in the marsh, you can just pretty much write those off. Those aren't redfish. A redfish is going to make a deep hump, right? Yeah, that blues guy just said it right there. A redfish is going to make a deep hump. It's going to be almost like a depression in the water coming down. Whereas a mullet is going to make a V-shaped wake, like Lone Star said, that's pretty shallow. It's going to barely disturb the water. A lot of times you'll see a redfish pull off and it'll look like almost like a boat wake kind of, where it's a deep, wide, I guess wave action to it, where it's really big and you can it's really distinct when you see it. But yeah, if you're gonna paddle down a bank and you start seeing wakes like that, where you see a lot of water moving, those are always good to cast at. That's a good bank that has a lot of cruising reds on it probably. Because when you find one, there's usually a few more feeding in the area, like every fish. Um, Also, you want to look for bait activity still. So mullets are a good indicator that there's fish in the area. If there's mullets that are kind of nervous and milling around, there's chances are there's something around there that's making them nervous, that's making them move. But yeah, you can see the size of the wakes right there when this fish is moving. That's a quintessential redfish wake right there. And they'll be doing that even when you don't hook them. They'll be cruising down the bank. What up, Joe? What you got to say about this? Where the redfish at? But yeah, even if you don't hook them, they'll be cruising along the bank like that. Bass and carp make similar. They do make similar wakes. I fished Lafitte last year one time, and there was tons of carp out in Lafitte, and they look a lot like redfish when you're sight casting. And they fooled me a few times out there. But yeah, bait activity. You also want to look for tails. Those can be real subtle, but when you see it, it's undeniable when that tail pops out the water and it's just kind of waving there. And then it'll go back down slowly, and then it'll pop back up again. You gotta keep an eye out for that. It's silent when it happens, but when you see it, it's really exciting, and you know that fish is feeding, and it's pretty comfortable. You can usually get a good cast on those tailing fish. And then the third thing you want to look for is you want to look for backs out the water. When it's real shallow, that north wind blows the water out. A lot of times you'll see redfish crawling, and the top half of their body will be out the water. That's always an easy sight fish to do. But just make sure you got you a good pair of polarized glasses. They I'm counting you late, bruh. All right, Blues guy. I'll see you later. Good pair of polarized glasses is always good. So now we're going to talk about the final thing we're going to talk about. This is the thing that you have to really practice. You can't really tell somebody how to do it. The boat is running poorly right now. I don't want to talk about it. We had it running great. Me and Colin actually took it out a couple Saturdays ago. I've been dealing with this for a while. Me and Colin had it running. We were up on plane, and then all of a sudden it dropped back to 3,000 RPM, and it's been stuck on 3,000 RPM for like the last. It's been stuck on 3,000 RPM for the last few times I've taken it out. I've been trying to figure that out. I can't figure out. I think I have a an air leak in one of my fuel lines, a connector somewhere. I didn't go through everything. I just can't figure out where it's at yet. But we're gonna get it going. We're gonna get it going, man. It's just frustrating that the little things are holding me back. It's not anything major. It's just something stupid. But approaching a redfish. Maybe Francis could teach us. He could tell us about how he approaches a redfish. So like, we didn't already got to our area. We drifting down the bank and we see a redfish. How do you catch it? How do you not spook it? What's the secret? I gotta work tomorrow, bruh. What's the secret to what's the secret to getting your lure in front of the fish without spooking it? I think Matt's showing you a good example right here. You gotta just be put the right cast on them. But maybe Francis or Lone Star could jump in on that. Oh, I'm getting a message. But all right, what I like to do is I like to just first I'm drifting down the bank. There's gonna be a lot to look at. You're just constantly scanning back and forth. Yeah, don't hit them too close, right? You got to be close, but you got to be not that close, right? So yeah, I'll be drifting down the bank. I'll be scanning back and forth. Okay, I see a fish. First thing I like to do is I like to determine like which direction it's going. So figure out where its mouth is, right? Because that's the most important part of uh, this procedure is to figure out where the fish's mouth is, right? So first you want to figure out which direction it's going. Then you want to get you ready. You don't want to move too much. You want to be kind of stationary. You want to get a nice smooth cast action at them. And you want to let it sink down before. So you're going to have to lead the fish. If he's swimming down, you want to get it maybe 2 feet, 3 feet at the most away from him. You don't want to be too close to him because it'll spook when it hits. If you hit on top of his head or right on the side of his head or something like that, you want to be in front of him where he can kind of see it coming at him. So you want to cast maybe 2 foot in front of him and let it sink, and then kind of just slowly reel the lure on the bottom. Yeah, there you go. Matt just explained it. Yeah, don't freak out. When you see him, don't freak out. You got to make nice, subtle, deliberate movements. Get that cast about 2 foot in front of his face and just kind of slowly let it sink down into him. So if you're in like 3 feet of water, you're going to have to give it some time to get down. But, shallow water, you're going to start reeling immediately. But, but yeah, so if I'm in 2 feet of water, I'm going to give it a nice 1, 2, and then I'll start reeling once it gets down a little bit. And I'm just going to put a nice steady reel on it. And usually, once it crosses their line of sight, they'll jump on it and they'll be on it. But sometimes that doesn't work. So sometimes you gotta just figure out what action they're gonna react to. I guess it depends on what they're eating. Like if they're eating mullets, they're gonna want something swimming. Or if they're eating crabs, they're gonna want something kind of crawling slowly on the bottom. So you gotta kind of feel that out based on the day. And some days it just doesn't matter. As soon as it hits the water and they see it, they're gonna just crush it. But yeah, it's pretty basic. The hard part is seeing them. Like once you start seeing fish, getting the cast on them is kind of the easy part. But yeah, we got some good suggestions from some good red fishermen. I'm not a good red fisherman. I just beat my head against the wall enough. If you see enough in a day, eventually I catch one. But yeah, don't freak out. That's the number one tip, I guess, right? Just be real deliberate with your action. Be real smooth with it. Have your rod ready in your hand if you can. If you're kayaking, if you're on a boat, definitely have your rod in your hand, have the bail open, and be ready. As soon as you see that fish, you're gonna make that 2 foot cast right in front of his nose. So Frank is saying if they're cruising, what do you do? If they're cruising, he likes to throw it past them. Oh, so you like to let the fish kind of swim into the lure rather than swim it past the fish. Okay, I see. That's a good tactic. Secretly, I'm taking notes right now because I'm not a good red fisherman. I'm trying to get better. So I'm taking notes. I'm trying to steal y'all ideas. What up, Gustavo? I missed you. I didn't see that comment a minute ago. What up, Gustavo? Usually what works for me is I'll let it hit the bottom and I'll just slow roll it on the bottom and usually they'll jump on it. If they're finicky. If not, if they aren't finicky, they'll just jump on it immediately. But all right, what else I had to say? That's all I had in my notes. Anybody got anything to add to this? Collins made some bad casts. Yeah, it's because redfish are very forgiving. Sight fishing is really cool because you can be a beginner and have success, and then once you start really getting good at it, then it just snowballs and it becomes second nature almost. It becomes the skills as your skills grow, you can challenge yourself in different ways, and then you can get better. And that's where the tournaments come in, where you can pick out a fish that's 26 and a half inches, and you start being able to recognize what's a good tournament fish, what's an overslot fish. So the more you do it, the better you get, and the better fish you'll catch. Do you find that you spook them more? I have noticed that if you bring a lure from the back of the fish to the front of the fish, you'll spook them a lot of times. What up, Joe? You gonna watch Star Wars? Where the fish at, Joe, man? Where we going fishing at? But yeah, I have found that when you, or if you bring it like over the top of their back, they'll spook a lot of times. They don't like it to be above them, but if it's below them, they'll usually come and get it. That's always, yeah, that's a good tactic. Procure, yeah, that's always some good too. Put some stank on it. Redfish, they eat anything, everything. Gulp, procure, market bait. It all sweetens up the lure for the fish. Look on Google Maps for dark colored mud banks. Reds like to tail in this type of mud for crabs. There we go. That's a hot tip right there from Steve Raddick, the West Bank Port Sulphur killer. He knows what he's talking about. He catches tons of fish. So take that, note that right there. Look for those coffee ground. Let's see if we can find a coffee ground mud bank. Let's see. I know they got to have some around here, right? Where am I? This water is not the best picture. Let's see. Man, all these little areas are cool. Where to launch for redfish? Oh, all right, yeah, that's a good question, Deputy. Oh, so they were full of crabs out in Delacroix. So Delacroix, always a good spot to redfish. Tons of broken marsh. You can get on any of these islands, all these little peninsulas. See all this grass and stuff, Deputy? That's redfish magnets right there. Like all these shorelines, really good red fishing areas. Back up towards Reggio. All of Reggio is good. Got to find the clean water. So you want to find areas that are more protected, areas that have three sides to them, areas that have like one way in, one way out, like these little ponds like this. Usually hold clean water. Um, Corners of areas like let's see, like down this bottom of this of Lake Amida, where there's not much water flow, that's gonna always hold fish. Up like Oyster Bay, areas that don't get a lot of water movement are always gonna hold clean water. So yeah, Reggio, the whole of Reggio, both sides of the highway. Down this side, good red fishing. If you launch at one of these cuts right here, one of these canals, and you can just fish down these shorelines and catch them. Fly rod. I got a fly rod, man. I never tried it for reds yet. I've been freshwater fishing with it, but I still haven't done it. My buddy Scott went fly fishing not too long ago. He was doing he did pretty good on them. What else we doing? Where else we could launch for reds? Shell Beach. If you want to go further west, good red fishing out in Pointe-aux-Chenes. Cocodrie, just pretty much everywhere there's some nice marsh, some solid marsh. Pretty much everywhere. I mean, yeah, that's the easy way to catch reds. That's what I've always heard from all the old guys. All the old guys tell me, just find a good point and pop a cork on a good point, and you're gonna catch redfish. And earlier in my fishing career, that's what I used to do a lot. Hopedale, yeah, pretty much everywhere you got a nice broken marsh, solid marsh areas. And even then, there's also good sight fishing on in big bodies of water. Just you got to find a shoreline with clean water, and the reds will be there. There's tons of reds, millions and billions of reds everywhere. Where else I like to sight fish reds? There's all kind of cool little areas. I was looking at the map earlier. Now I was looking at this little area back here off the Wrigley's. There's really clean water right off of this little area. And see all the grass coming through this little pocket? I don't know if you can get there from a kayak. But yeah, that's the way it is, Lone Star. You gotta just find a spot. The spots that are off the beaten path are better. So if you just find an area where less people go, the reds are gonna be there. And especially if you want to sight fish, you find an area that's kind of protected, that not many people frequent. And yeah, you're in business. You're in business. One of my best red fishing trips ever was down. I launched at Hopedale, right here at Pips. Went down Hopedale Lagoon and went down up into this area, like Dow's Ditch. I think I was all back in here too. I can't. It was some years back, but all back in these pockets, it was just loaded. We killed it. We killed it that day. I probably caught like 6 or 7 on top water on the way down, like down this canal, and then I finally started sight fishing like through these little pockets and stuff, and just smashed them. But anybody else got any comments? Man, there's weather coming through tomorrow. I'm not looking forward to that. Don't look like anybody's gonna do any fishing tomorrow. Man, Francis, I'm taking notes from you, man. Tidewater Road in Venice. Is that good sight fishing area? I've never found the water to be that clean. Maybe back in the wagon wheel, you can find some clean water, but like this area, it's kind of rough. Tips for redfish in the outside areas like Golden Meadow. It's all the same, man. You just gotta find. So, I guess in Grand Isle, what do I look for? I don't know. I look for clean water first and foremost in Grand Isle. There's not much grass to fish. You just want to find you a good clean bank that you can drift down. That has some bait on it, maybe. But really, the key to sight fishing is finding clean water first and foremost. I think everything else is secondary. Colin got lucky. I put him on the trout. I just didn't execute. He executed when I put him on him. They were there for both of us to catch. Yeah, Dylan. Or if you don't want to waste your time, you can do what Dylan says. Dead shrimp and cork. Yeah, because that water is always dirty out there by Yellow Cotton Bay. Like, I don't know where you could sight fish in that area, except the wagon wheel, maybe. That might be one of the only areas that you might find some cleaner water. But yeah, that's the bottom line of sight fishing. Find clean water. There's always going to be a few reds. Been here in Bay St. Louis is stacked with reds. What? Man, I've been watching that guy following DD214. I've been watching him. He caught a red snapper somewhere in Pascagoula or something like that, like in his kayak on the inshore. So that looked pretty cool. That made me want to go to Mississippi because I never caught anything like that. That would be a cool catch. All right, what's Gustavo talking about? A wildlife found while fishing other than fish episode. Oh yeah, maybe we could have an episode where everybody just talks about crazy stuff they've seen in the marsh. What's the weirdest thing you've seen in the marsh? Let's talk about it right now. What time is it? Damn, I've been on for a while. Yeah, that's another good tip. That's another really good tip for sight fishing, Colin. Good answer. Don't cast. Just be patient. Vince Ray. Yeah, that's it. That's his real name. DD214. I think that's it. There is some good sight fishing a little further up the road, like out of Buris. There's good sight fishing along this stretch in this marsh, and then a little further up the road, I've sight fished all like this marsh one time in a boat. That was good. Out of Port Sulphur, all this broken marsh. You just gotta find some solid marsh. Yeah, man, he's living the life right now. He is living the life. Freshwater turtles, that's the weirdest thing you've encountered? Francis, what he saw? Shark cruising in the pond and you ran over sea turtle last week? Man, I've seen some crazy stuff. What's the weirdest thing I've seen? I caught a shark in the pond last year in Golden Meadow. That was weird. Um, what else did I do? I caught a sea turtle too, like out of Grand Isle last year. But I seen manatee. I seen the manatee twice in Lake Pontchartrain. First time I saw it, I was fishing on the bank, right off of London Avenue, and the manatee was just swimming along the steps right here. And at first I thought it was like a huge black drum, but then as I looked closer, like it took a breath. I was like, "Oh shit, it's a manatee." And then I also saw a manatee. I thought it was a whale. I don't know what it was. I just saw like this big black thing come out the water. I'm pretty sure it was a whale. I mean, not a whale, a manatee. I thought it was a whale at first. Alan was with me that day. We were out fishing. We were like in the middle of nowhere in the kayaks, and this black, like angular thing comes out the water, and it was like black, and we couldn't figure out what it was, but I think it was a manatee after the fact. We got freaked out. What, a barracuda? Yeah, that's crazy. I seen deer in the marsh. I seen coyotes, hogs. I mean, standard animal wildlife. Terrapins. I seen a lot of terrapins too, like out, especially out in the Biloxi Marsh. There's tons of terrapins. Like they're like little turtles with a white head. All right, guy. Dan Gustavo, I hijacked your thing. A Lexus SUV driving on ice. That's crazy. There are rabbits in the marsh in Delacroix. I've never seen a rabbit in the marsh. I seen them on the side of the road driving down to go fishing, but I never seen a rabbit. That's cool. I have to keep an eye out for the rabbits. Oh yeah, big gators. I never have any problems with gators. Man, Gustavo, you stay in Florida, man. Stop rubbing it in. I've seen a lot of big gators. There's some huge alligators that like down the Spoil Canal, but they don't usually fool with you. I don't know. Dolphins. All right, guys. I'm what? It's been what? How long we been on here? Too long. What time is it? We didn't watch videos from Matt. We didn't watch videos from Bayou Wild. Have I been on here for an hour, really? Oh, 32 minutes. Anybody got any more questions? Anybody going fishing this weekend? Take me with you. Anybody going fishing tomorrow in the rain? Nobody going fishing in the rain? Nope. All right. Good. Don't go out tomorrow. Stay home tomorrow. I'll holler at you guys next week. I'll find something to talk about next week. We'll figure it out. Thanks for coming out. If you got an idea though for next week, drop it right now. Let's see what it is, so I can start planning for next time. Oh, my mom is calling me. We're about to have a special guest on here. Mom. Hello, Mom. Oh, you live right now. I got you. Uh, all right, I'll talk to you later. All right, everybody. Good night.